1971. We woke up in a different world, where the Cold War ended along with the Vietnam carnage. All because of the Dome. The Dome. A territory full of anomalous artifacts, phenomena, and organisms. We still don't know what it is. An alien city? Some kind of a testing ground or storage? Whatever it is, no living thing trapped under the Dome can escape it. Yet even this did not stop the research. The major powers created the Cronus Megacorporation to develop and explore the Dome. Its secrets became a lucrative business. The Spires station was built on top of the Dome to export the artifacts and import supplies and personnel. The city of Crystal Sands grew at the foot of the Dome, eventually becoming a major transportation hub. All this required thousands of employees, and there was no shortage of candidates. Romantics, pragmatists, and adventurers of all trades swarmed recruiting centers around the globe, seeking jobs at Cronus. You were one of those people. In 1976, your application was approved, and you went under the Dome towards the future. Whether a good one or a bad one, only time will tell. A guy wearing thick spectacles thrusts out a sweaty hand.
Monty James, Silverwing.
He glances down at your badge.
Ah, it's you. I found your file extremely interesting, and your CV wonderful. Inspiring, really. When I had the opportunity to look over the files of my future colleagues, I couldn't resist. I don't want to sound boastful, but silver level clearance has its advantages.
Monty winks. Monty makes a ring with his thumb and forefinger.
You were number 63,784 on the waiting list, but you were lucky enough to get into the dome after only 16 months. Besides that, zero, nada, absolutely nothing. You're a dark horse for both the Foundation and myself. How exactly did you end up in this wing?
The silver peers at you more closely.
Wait. Let me guess. Are you a mercenary? French Foreign Legion, right? Fought in Africa, Latin America? Yeah, I know. You don't like to talk about it.
An uncomfortable silence rises between you, and Monty abruptly changes the subject. He taps the narrow illuminator panel with one finger.
Look, there's a storm rising. The lightning is strange. Green. Should lightning be green? This is my first sandstorm.
Stopping by the door's porthole, you watch as the ground slowly approaches. It looks brown-black through the tinted glass, and smoky blue at the horizon. It almost seems like the clouds are pulling apart there. You peer into the rusty clouds of dust blowing along a dirt road leading south. The southern sector. Every black winger has heard the whispers about Operation Simoom, a major offensive under preparation since the early days of development of the dome. Cronus is recruiting troops capable of capturing the southern territory, an area heavily guarded by the Forefathers' defense systems. Maybe you yourself will end up in one of those troops. Just as you're about to move away from the window, you notice a whirlwind beginning to form above the ochre plain. The gathering storm drifts unhurriedly above the desert, a crown of green lightning flashing at its core. Clearly no ordinary weather phenomenon. It must be one of those anomalies. You freeze by the window, unable to avert your gaze. The outlines of the landing site, blurred by clouds of dust, appear behind the greenish glass of the porthole. The capsule shudders as the braking devices engage.
Come here. Come on now, or you'll miss everything.
A cheerful man in a white lab coat grabs you by the sleeve. A badge reading Ludovico Nuzzi, scientific analyst, export department, dangles loosely on his clean uniform, which still smells pungently of washing powder.
Look over there.
He points upward with a sharp, wide gesture and hands you his field binoculars. You raise the binoculars to your eyes. Under fourfold magnification, the whirling cloud above the rust-colored plains looks even stranger. Its core glows with flickering green light and flashes rhythmically, and that rhythm seems to form a complicated pattern. Nuzzi bends close to your ear.
Fascinating. Do you want me to bring some filters? If we intercept the red and blue spectrums, we'll see something amazing. It's like a signal, some kind of message.
The scientist looks blankly at you, then down at his lab coat.
Ah, this? This?
He lets out a blaring laugh. Ludovico points at the building behind him.
I work in Concord Station, categorizing relics. My job is to classify them by rarity. Then the blues package them, silvers issue the documentation, and oranges move them to the cargo capsule. Just like the one you arrived in.
Nazi points upward.
Then the capsule takes the relics way up there, all the way to the spire, then to Crystal Sands by the funicular. They get auctioned off and turned into money. It's not like I endorse this, but we all like ourselves a good paycheck, right?
He offers you his binoculars once again.
Do you want to have a look at the spire? It's amazing. But then you could look at the spire anytime. Now that sandstorm, that's what's truly amazing.
Nazi looks from you to the capsule and to the landing terminal entrance. He flings his arms up.
Oh, mi scusi. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. You'd better get going or you'll be late for check-in. Your colleagues are already inside, and the storm is growing stronger. Yeah, the storm is growing stronger.
The White mutters in fascination, eyes glued to his binoculars, which is fixed on the spinning whirl of clouds.
And I was starting to get bored. Bye-bye.
I'm all ears. It was nice chatting.
Mr. Rayhead, would you bring me a cup? Good day to you. Have a good one.
Greetings, newcomer. Come over here and register.
A tall receptionist watches you from behind his desk with a bored, haughty look. He waves impatiently at you to approach. The employee glances at you indifferently. His upper lip is ever so slightly curled in contempt.
All new employees must register first thing. Come up to the desk, please.
The nameplate on the desk tells you you're talking with Dean Rayhead, administrator. The administrator slaps himself on the forehead.
Ah, I almost forgot the regulation pre-registration greeting. Just a second.
Rayhead produces a reel-to-reel tape recorder from beneath the desk, rewinds the tape to the beginning, and presses play. The speakers explode with a harsh, crackling sound, over which the tick-tick of a metronome slowly grows louder. Solemn music begins to play, and the administrator's face takes on a serious expression.
Dear employee, on behalf of the Cronus Foundation, I, Administrator Dean Rayhead, welcome you to your new life under the dome.
The administrator clears his throat and continues.
By joining our company, you choose the path of science and progress. You are among mankind's best, and we ask that you live up to this.
Dean squints down at the monitor.
Deserve this title. Do your job honestly. Obey the law. Respect your colleagues and...
The music fades, and the administrator finishes his speech.
And together we will build the best possible future for all mankind.
Dean puts the tape recorder away.
Now that we're done with the official greeting, I'll register you and upgrade your Selectron. Okay?
Dean's hands hover over the keyboard. He gives you a nod. You spell out your first and last names and specify your wing, profession, and test results. The administrator's fingers fly across the keyboard as he enters your information into the Cronus database. Rayhead scans the computer screen.
So your position in the waiting list was 63,784. You've been assigned to Magellan Station. A special bus will bring you there after a series of briefings. Please pass me your Selectron so I can update the firmware.
Dean snaps the docking port of your pass to a recess in the casing of his computer. The administrator returns your Selectron.
Here you are. You now have first-level clearance. As a Blackwing employee, you get access to the barracks, the armory, surveillance rooms, remand centers, and other specialized facilities.
Dean continues.
All new employees have a short list of tasks to perform on arrival. Do you want to hear all the details, or just the short version?
Rayhead snorts.
To make it short, get your uniform from storage, your weapons from the armory, pass the Psi abilities test, and complete your weapons training at the training zone. Then learn how to use the scanner, avoid anomalies, and properly catalog anything you observe. Last, go to the waiting room and wait for the bus to Magellan.
Dean sits back in his armchair.
That's it. I hope there aren't any questions.
Rayhead claps his hands in satisfaction.
Great.
He reaches for the tape recorder, but thinks better of it.
Protocol calls for a little welcoming preamble, but dash it all, that's nonsense. Welcome to Concord Station.
As he's about to turn away, Dean suddenly remembers something.
Oh yes, I sent your mail to your Kairos. Check your new messages. Well, that's all, I think.
Mr. Rayhead? Come back again.
Station was erected, which was called the Spire.
Our
honest work will make the world a better place.
Behind the storage counter, you see a small, neat guy. His gingery hair shines with something like brilliantine. His badge says, Sidney Maynard, storekeeper. The silver perks up at your approach. A thick logbook appears at once from under the counter. Sidney puts on thick glasses that seem to age him 5 decades in an instant and studies the lined pages. The silver finally stops and pins down a particular page with his finger.
This is your first uniform requisition, right? You can also purchase any equipment you need for the desert directly from me.
Maynard adjusts his glasses in a businesslike manner.
Before I give you the uniform, please listen to these short instructions.
Sidney fiddles with his hairstyle.
So, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Life under the dome can be dangerous. You may get shot, spill acid on yourself, get electrocuted, or suffer the effects of a dangerous anomaly. You may also freeze to death or get fried. That's why it's important to wear protective equipment when traveling outdoors. Of course, in hazardous situations, the equipment will get damaged, and the more it's damaged, the more often one has to repair it.
The silver steps back from his counter to indicate the repair kit boxes piled in the back of the warehouse. He points back at the shelves behind him.
We've got repair kits for this gear. There are Blue Wing specialists ready to help you at any large base, of course, but they're not always available, so you'd better learn how to use repair kits and workbenches on your own. It's a useful skill.
Sidney rests the logbook on the desk.
That's all the instructions. Now, I'm going to issue your uniform.
The silver disappears into the back for a while and returns with a small package. Unfolding the package, Maynard shows you a brand spanking new uniform.
Standard issue Blackwing equipment, trousers, boots, jacket. Everything is stain resistant and armored. Bear in mind, this gear is made from all natural materials. Oh, Cronus takes care of its employees.
He says with a bit of swagger. He raises a finger.
One more important thing. In accordance with Order 16-225, helmets and gloves are not issued, but they're available for purchase from me. Please bear in mind that a full set includes headgear or a mask, jacket, trousers, gloves, and boots.
Sidney hands you the package.
Here's your uniform. Enjoy!
Attention. Please handle relics carefully. In case of
Anything urgent, Mr. Krachkov?
Katarzyna, did you mark it as Class 1 again, instead of 2? Look, here's the scanner data. It says the relic is a scientific device.
Wait, but it's still...
The smell of good tobacco wafts off this tall, portly woman from a meter away. A black lacquered pipe, an open logbook full of signatures, and a metal flip calendar sit on the counter in front of her. A small nameplate reads, Margarita Tkachenko. The woman fixes her coppery hair with one hand and casually lights her pipe.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Her voice is deep and gravelly. Margarita thumbs back a couple of pages in her logbook.
I see. This was your first receipt.
She glances at her Kairos, looks at you, snorts, and retreats to the shelves. A couple of minutes later, Tkachenko returns holding a small pistol. She puts the gun on the counter and strokes the Bakelite grip with a strange affection.
Pistols are good. Not for everyone. One needs a special skill set.
The black draws the slide with a snap, pops out the magazine with an almost imperceptible movement, and slams it back in place.
It's reliable. Has a nice heft, too, so even if it jams, you can always smack him on the head with it.
Tkachenko slides the pistol across the counter. Margarita drags on her pipe and releases a puff of thick, yellow smoke.
I see you know the rules and won't cause problems.
The armorer shrugs, puffing indifferently on her pipe.
It's the least I could do. We have a requisition list from the Silvers. For free, you receive only rubbish. If you want the real deal, check out the weaponry shop. Or me.
Leaning over the counter, the black points somewhere off to one side.
Now it's time for your training. Botherby is already waiting for you by the big gate. He's a bit dotty, but a good man nonetheless. But before the training zone, go see that wizard guy with his toothpicks. Be careful around him, though. Don't let him pitch you a line. Psychic my ass.
She winces in disgust.
I'll complain to the Silvers about that idiot. They'll take the appropriate measures. I hate those oranges. How the hell do they break locks for?
A lean Silver with thick black hair and a huge cigar clamped in his teeth is sitting in front of you. As you approach, he flashes a sly grin and slowly raises an outstretched hand above the table. Something really weird happens. All the paper clips, pencils, scattered toothpicks, and bits of trash float up from the table and hang in the air. The silver badge reading Andrei Mihai, Sci Instructor, floats up as well.
Here for the briefing, huh? Shall we get to it?
He takes the cigar out of his mouth and exhales a lush cloud of smoke. The Silver props his elbows on the table.
Anyway, here's the deal. It's more profitable for people with a high psyche to study psionics. Give me your hand.
Not waiting for an answer, he grabs your hand with strong, dark fingers. Andrei gropes your hand briefly, then lets go, disappointed.
The pills, huh? The anti-migraine, sleeping pills, neuroleptics, downers. What do you mean you don't take them? Well, off you go then. That means no talent, huh? Why waste time? No wasting time now. But alas, regulations demand it, so I'll give you a glove too. Regulations, huh?
The Silver takes a thin glove covered in talc from his desk and passes it to you.
Look, a glove, right? But it isn't just a glove. This is an ooh mama hold me tight glove. It takes energy from your noggin, your psyche, and pew, concentrates it.
He counts off on his fingers.
Learn psionics. Put on the glove. Transform energy into the necessary shape. That's the whole briefing. Simple? Simple. Now to your questions, huh?
As you reach to open the sliding door, an engineer in a bright blue jacket stops you.
Hold on there, Chief. It's out of order. See? You're a newcomer, right? It's a straight-up open house here today.
He offers you his hand. According to his badge, this is Maxim Penkovsky, technician. The technician slaps the door with one hand.
You have to wait until I'm done. Some orange jammed up the lock with chewing gum just for a laugh. They're like animals, those oranges. Marking their territory. If you ask me, they're too gracious about those bastards in Crystal Sands.
Penkovsky grunts angrily.
I wish I could. I'm gonna have to disassemble, clean, and reassemble it to get it working. It's work I don't need, and all thanks to some idiot.
Maxime extracts a thin, sharp precision probe from behind his ear and dangles it in front of you.
Though there's another way. You want to learn something about picking locks? It's a useful skill in all sorts of situations.
He looks at you expectantly. Penkovsky shrugs.
Pick this lock specifically as much as you like. But in general, yes, it can be illegal if you try to get in where you shouldn't be, or open other people's lockers. No one will get upset if you touch an ownerless door.
The Blue's getting excited.
All right, looky here.
Penkovsky presses his pick lock, and an odd device resembling a hybrid of a screwdriver and a can opener into your hand.
Using a mechanical pick lock is easy peasy. No special skill required. They wear out after a few locks. While the old-fashioned kind is another thing entirely. Cheap, one use. But one has to know how to use it right. That's a tool for a master.
Maxime takes out another pick lock and crouches by the door. He gives you a quick lesson on how to pick a lock.
By the way, you can carry your tools in your belt. It's much handier to have them right there.
Penkovsky shows you his utility belt, where he keeps all kinds of tools and gadgets.
Actually, finding tools under the dome is no problem at all. There are even devices for hacking terminals and so on.
Maxime hoists up his belt. The Blue solemnly raises his index finger.
And one more thing. Always use brand name stuff if you can. Groovy produces good kids. Modus and Supercolor do too. They've all got fat contracts with Cronus, so they care about quality.
He looks at the door again.
Damn these locks. Though I'd rather be doing this than fixing hab pods. Those are a real pain in the ass.
Remember, our honest work will make the world a better place. World a better place.
I repeat, get a lockpick and attach it to your utility belt. And then, apply it to the door. Yes, apply is the proper word.
Attention.
You're doing great. All right, off you go. I'll keep working on this lock because of that orange. Hey-ho.
Welcome under the dome, an amazing excursion to a world of new technology and the riddles of an ancient civilization. Listen to this information.
The sun reflects blindingly from the salt, and the air is as dry as a nun's gusset.
Well? Have a good one.
By a swimming pool, sipping a margarita right on this.
A middle-aged black is sitting behind the counter with his hands in his lap. The buttons and zippers on his uniform are polished to a shine, and even his badge, Winston Botherby, Instructor, has been buffed so much it hurts to look at it. Botherby frowns as you approach.
Your first act is being late for the briefing. You going to be late for your funeral as well?
The black looks you over.
Yes, I see the weapon received checkmark. Looks like you are fully prepared to disappoint me. You are prepared, right, employee?
Botherby leans over the counter and directs you to the doors.
Behind this door is a combat simulation computer. Launch it and begin your course.
He raises his index finger.
The conditions in the training zone closely simulate those one would experience in the field. Your goal is to avoid getting lost and dying of dehydration. And try to aim the barrel away from yourself when shooting.
Pulling a notepad from his pocket, the instructor jots down your name.
Your goal is to hit 3 targets. I'm going to monitor you and advise as necessary. And try not to burst into tears. That's
Strangest to Sci-Fi here, the detailed plans are ready.
Thrilling news. You aren't completely hopeless.
And I fully agree with you. But what if I told you that in a year...
Botherby nods grandly.
You made it through training without making a total fool of yourself. Congratulations. I'll send a report up the chain about your completely unanticipated success. You're dismissed, employee.
A resort city in the West, with bars, casinos, spas, and therapeutic saunas. I don't know about you, but I'm sure I'll come here in a year and will feel like a real queen.